Hey, just for the audience, I'm talking with David Summerly. How you doing, David?
Doing awesome. Good to see you, Tim.
We're going to talk about things that to do to for manufacturers to target contractors on social media and different things like that. I don't market manufacturers, but I probably have some thoughts because Hook Agency obviously is targeted contractors. And so we're talking to them a lot. And so I'm just basically like brainstorming with David here about this. And so it's not a official, this is document, not create. We're not creating a piece of content. We're just going to document this as a consultation and more of a brainstorm, I think. I'm sure you've got some stuff that's worked in the past though, David. What has worked for you guys so far to get in front of the right people to pull the trigger?
Well, I know Euroshield as a company has worked a lot of booths at a lot of the shows, and sometimes that turns into a lot of leads. Sometimes it does not. When it does turn into a lot of leads, sometimes it turns into a lot of sales and sometimes it does not.
Yeah.
Because what they've always done is bring in giant boards with all of the rubber shingles on them. They look like real slate, and they haven't, it seems like it, when I've walked past the booths in the past, it hasn't seemed like they've had a way to grab the people or to show the people why they need to come into the booth and check it out. And so it ends up being a massive expense with a little bit of draw in and a little bit of long-term results of people understanding what it is you're providing. I'm sure they've gotten sales out of it. They wouldn't be in business.
Just like a real, sorry, I want to zoom out just for people watching this later. And we're not going to do a ton of this, but just like your product versus F-Wave versus like Da Vinci real quick. What's the difference?
So we're all considered specialty roofs, and specifically we are in the what they call the synthetics market, which is less than 1% of all roofing. So when somebody's like, oh, you're going to put us out of business with that roof that's going to last forever, it's 1% of the market right now, and we're a fraction of that. So yeah, you're good. Think long term. You don't be scarcity minded. Like, you're going to actually charge them more. You're going to make more, and let somebody else lose that future roof. Okay. But
you think your customer, I mean, part of it is like, no offense, but if your roof gets destroyed after 7 years of being on, if the roof you put on got destroyed, it's not like they're coming back to you real quick to get the same easily destroyable material.
Right. But a lot of times there are some contractors that have repeat business.
Yeah.
But I think most of us that have gone out and sold roofs agree that you don't usually see the same people over and over again. Yeah, I've had some repeat customers, but the best
this is like rare a little bit.
Whoever knocked on their door gets the deal. Right?
Yeah.
What's that?
I feel like that's rare a little bit though, but I don't know the stat on that.
Most of the time you sell them a roof once and somebody else is selling them a roof later. So I want to help people sell them a better roof now, so they feel like they're doing a service, not a disservice to their homeowner, and that they're going to give somebody a roof that may last them their entire rest of their lives, or at least the lifetime of that roof, or that home, or how long they keep that home. They sometimes will sell the home and then ask for a Euroshield roof on their next home as a transferable warranty to the homeowner that they sold the roof to or sold the house to. So that's a good thing. But we're getting now.
I mean, just knowing that like Dimitri's had problems with he believes that F-Wave will fade over time or something like that. Cause I think F-Wave looks clean. I'm just going to throw that out there. And I don't know if it's, what's that?
It's a beautiful looking product.
Yeah. And I mean, part of it is also like, if it's 1% of the market, we're not really, I feel like we're not competing. It's not about, not, to me, it's not about Euroshield versus F-Wave. It's actually Euroshield versus a bunch of asphalt shingles.
I jokingly refer to them, and don't get me wrong, there are some brands out there in the shingles that I loved and that I'm still fans of. I still like the people that work at those companies, but I jokingly refer to them as disposable shingles because we all know what happens. They don't last an extremely long time and they end up in the landfill, and then you're replacing them again and again and again. And so I jokingly refer to them as disposable shingles. They all have their own qualities. They have their own selling points on why they're better than their competitors for different reasons, depending on what market they're in.
So the first thing I know, because I think contractors are not that hard to talk to on Facebook in particular or
Right.
TikTok. So I'm
Absolutely.
going to go through real quick, like my basics of what I think you could be doing. Are you,
Okay.
you're not the marketing director for this company though, technically. So, like you don't, but you're a pretty, like you're a representative in the United States. And are there a lot of you or not?
No, there's myself, the president of the company, and one other person,
Yeah.
covering 4 states. I cover 13 states, and I'm basically in training. Right now, I'm the Southeast US, but that includes all the way over through Kansas. It's pretty big, it's like basically a fourth of the US, and I'm in training to become the national sales manager.
Gotcha. I mean, a little bit of this is a discussion about like what's in the jurisdiction of the sales rep and what's in the jurisdiction of corporate, and like what should they be handling? Because I believe they should generally be handling search engine optimization,
Right.
paid ads, the website. I mean, the website looks very good, by the way. So it looks like it's nice.
Alethea
And
is doing
then,
good.
and then on your side, I mean, what you have in your control is most corporate companies, most manufacturers are not going to be out here hustling as hard as you are, obviously. So like, to me, the things I've done that have cut through, and I literally change them every like 6 months because I used to be really on LinkedIn because the algorithm was really easy. It probably wasn't my ideal customer. I got like 4 commercial construction
Right.
company deals
Commercial would be great.
last year. But ultimately I decided that's not my favorite because they don't care about the recurring aspect because they don't believe in SEO as much as like a B2C, like roofing company or a contractor, so I've pushed into Facebook because of that reason. And I like roofers and stuff like that. So, but there's like the things that have cut through for me recently. I'm just going to go through them. You probably already know, because you probably already see me on here. I'm always doing stuff, but memes, reels and TikToks. And I'd say more like, and I think you do this already, which is like a little bit more long form text posts, maybe with an image, maybe with a not, maybe not. And on your personal page, like I tell all these roofers all the time, you need to be on your personal profile. The page does almost nothing. It's super annoying. And everyone, like, whenever I say that, people are like, what are you saying? Facebook, you can't get business? I'm like, no, you can get business. It's just from different things now. And like, that I think people just want to contradict me sometimes. Like they know it. The page is dead, dude. Pages are dead. They're so hard unless you pay money. And I'm sorry, but like, even when you pay money, you're kind of interrupting people. And if it's coming from a page, it's kind of boring. But if it's coming from a human,
people see every third post of mine on there.
Yeah, exactly. And even, on a personal page, people see almost nothing that you post. So I believe no matter what social platform you go after, you should go really hard. So if it's 2 platforms, for me right now, it's probably a little bit more, like it's probably YouTube and Facebook for me. Like that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not saying I'm crushing it on either of them, but I go harder on 2 social platforms, because it's really hard to nail a bunch of them. But yeah, basically I say like I post like every 6 hours when I'm awake. Nice. And I have opinions. I basically believe that your stuff dies. Like if you post, like if I post when I wake up, like a meme, I usually have a meme ready for when I wake up, post my meme. I wait 6 hours. Usually I'll do either like a promo for a YouTube video, but I usually use the image, not the actual link, because anything with a link in your post dies in my experience. So I don't post links to videos as often as I post like the thumbnail, and then I link in the comments. Basically, Facebook just wants to keep you on that platform as long as possible. So anything with a link in the post usually does poorly. So anyways, just kind of cataloging the stuff that I'm currently doing. And yes, I am a ridiculous person. So I just go as hard as I possibly can. And then I get like, I'll be real, I am addicted to the endorphins sweet serotonin of Facebook. But I also like for a while there, like we've been getting like a lead a day on Facebook. So it's not a joke, you know, but I would say
I'm thinking Facebook and TikTok is probably my game.
Yeah.
What would your opinion be on that?
I feel like that's a very good play. I feel like the short form video, and I think like there's on LinkedIn, from what I understand, it's basically like 50, 100, and 150 videos are like where people get breakthroughs. It's not from posting 10 videos. It's from making like hacking your brain, making it part of your daily activity and thinking about it like prospecting, because you and I both probably love prospecting. I feel like if it's a sales activity, that's more interesting to me. On average, it's just that I can't constantly be badgering people with sales activity. So I do this in the background to keep my pipeline filling up. You know what I mean?
Well, and I never want to feel like, because I mean, one of the things I love about our industry, no matter which part of the industry you're in, I love that we have these relationships. We feel like a big family. And I love that you can be successful in this industry by just going out and making relationships, even whether that's as a roofer in a community. If you're not like, if you're storm chasing, you got to go put in the work. And you just got to do what you got to do. Yeah. But if you're in a community and you're catching storms, that's different. You've built those relationships over time. You've actually been a good person and built trust. It's the same way there as it is everywhere else in our industry, right? You know, you got to build relationships of trust and actually like to care about people. And I feel like a lot more comes from that than pitching people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And then like, even if you're thinking about storm chasing, it's like, if you mixed a little bit of that crazy hustle you have with just like getting to know someone deeply and like, hey, what neighbors do you have that this might be useful to, like, you can win so much more if you just like soften it and be like, I'm not like, man,
that sometimes some of the female canvassers or salespeople out in the field have done better at getting referrals that I've observed because they listen better and they're picking up things and they're asking better questions and they build a relationship with usually the wife, but you never know either way. But they end up, that person wants to give them referrals. They don't even have to ask for them.
Man, I could go off for like an hour on just like why there should be more female sales reps in this industry. I mean, we're just, I like consider myself part of roofing industry now. So I don't even like, I identify way more with roofers than I do with marketers. So I don't even think of myself as a marketing industry anymore.
Me too. And I come from a marketing background.
Yeah. So we're behind. Roofing is behind. Like we're way behind. And like, once we get up that, like people are like, where are my reps? Like, why can't I keep people? All these different questions that like some of them would be solved if you just kind of opened up the other half of the population. And I'm working on it myself because I think we're more men in my company right now than female. So I need to work on it too. And I was scared for a while for whatever reason, but I am glad that I'm kind of pushing into it now.
There's trade-offs. I mean,
I
was on a team that was a lot of drama for a little while and nobody wants that, but there's trade-offs. Everybody's got different sets and qualities and, you know, you can.
I like a good balance. I think a good balance. Yeah. And I love like intensity too. So some of the dudes that I work with are very intense and that's good. A lot of the time, it just can't be all that either. You know, it can't be just 100% that. But yeah, that's a really good point. So yes, if you think of Facebook, I know you know this, but I'm going to see if this goes somewhere that's useful to you. Like you and I attend events and go to these things and create these relationships. If you go on Facebook thinking that way, and I need to do this more, is like when I post getting a referral partner and when I post attracting referral partners. Right. So to me, instead of I'm posting to get a lead, I'm posting to get a referral partner. But nonetheless, Dave, should I call you David or Dave?
I prefer David, but
David, I'm sorry.
I won't hit you.
I feel like you don't ever, I haven't seen a lot of clear cut, like right hooks from you about Euroshield. So you probably see this from me. I actually do a pretty hard right hook every single week. Like almost like there's usually something that's like, I take an angle. I don't just say, please give me your business, but I say like, I think Tuesday, I've been trying to make it like, I can't remember what I call it. I have a brand for it in my head, but every Tuesday I'm writing something to my ideal customer. Like I'm writing a little like hot take to my ideal customer. Like I'm not thinking about all the, a lot of times I'm like, these people that don't want to pay any money for marketing, or like, in your case, like people that love replacing roofs every 7 years. Like, so you get kind of distracted by those people. And sometimes you're writing content or posts for them, but like maybe make one day a week where you're like, I'm going to focus dead set on that guy that I know is ready for Euroshield. He's ready, but I'm going to make something super useful for him on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday morning, I'm going to write a little love letter of like, it's time to differentiate yourself. And I'm giving an example, like, it's time to differentiate yourself in your market. That it would be a lot easier to do that if you had a material that lasted way longer than theirs. And you've been thinking about specializing for a while. Euroshield just might happen to be part of that conversation. And here's why I think you'd enjoy it. Like basically like you give them a little like, I think that ideal customer focus, like really, really talking to those people occasionally instead of getting distracted by the people that won't pay for quality and the people that are already kind of dead set in their ways and getting really focused. And then like, I just think mixing in those right hooks every once in a while, they say, Gary V, I'm sure you've heard it, but the jab right hook. Right. And so the jab, I'm just for the rest of the audience, jab is the useful content, funny content, meme, reel, etc. And then the right hook is like, come on, give me business, let's go. And then I don't see them as much from you. Have I just not seen them because they haven't showed up on the algorithm? Do you do them occasionally?
Occasionally, but probably not as forcefully as I could. Mostly I've been trying to get my full bearings with Euroshield and all the details. I've loved the product since 2018, 2019, but I didn't know as much of the finer details about it and didn't want to misspeak. And so that's been part of it. And also I like to give. I like to give value because I feel like if you give enough value, something always comes back to you in the end. But
here's the deal. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying the ask is harder for me to do. I love to give and I love to work with people. I love to give recommendations to people. It's part of why I just naturally recommend things like Euroshield automatically. But the strong ask is harder for me.
What if I told you it was generous? So I saw Joseph Hughes doing this pretty regularly. And I was kind of like, a little bit like, what are you doing, dude? It's kind of cheesy. You're actually asking for business. Like, what are you up to? And then I thought about it. I simmered on it for a while. It just makes it easy for people to refer you. It makes it easy for people to respond if they already kind of wanted to. You know what I mean? And honestly, it's the ever-present call to action on the website. You know how you always want to have like the button up top or like a form or something always available. It's just making it always available so that even if they don't respond to that they remember in a couple of weeks that you actually are asking for business and you're a person that they can talk to, actually message and start a business conversation. And I'll be honest, I don't know why, but like our leads on the messenger side have gone up so much and our leads on the contact forms on our website have gone down. And I just see it as like people just want to talk to a human being. And so that's why I I added chat on our website today just for that reason.
I love it.
'Cause I'm
You
like,
know, makes sense.
yeah.
I wonder if because over time we all become friends,
Yeah.
if it, you know, it's one thing if you're out knocking doors. I'm going to go knock on your door. I'm going to tell you why I'm here. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. And I'm going to lead you down that path and go through that sales process because we've just learned it and we've gotten used to doing it. But when it's hanging out with our friends and talking to our friends, it feels different to ask for the business. And I just literally have a friend in mind that I've insinuated to them multiple times that I would like to go ahead and purchase their product. And they've never asked me for the business. And I'm going to hit them up later and go ahead and dude, sign me up.
That's kind of a real thing. That's kind of a thing. Like, in I don't know. I changed my mind on this and I thought it was cheesy. I think partly also because I had a lot of like old friends or like high school friends or something on Facebook. And I just didn't want to weird people out. And I just don't think it's that weird anymore.
Yeah, I think we
I
have
don't
to
know.
rise above our own holdback to realize that by human nature, if you ask people to like or comment or share or subscribe, there's a percentage of people who are just like, yeah, love to. And
Yeah.
if you don't, they're just like enjoying the content. Thanks, buddy. You know?
Yeah. What if I'd never told you that I wanted business? I mean, I would love your referrals, David, by the way. If you ever have a contractor that needs more leads or a beautiful website. So,
Of course.
we're
better
but what if
SEO.
you never knew? What if you never knew that I wanted that? You know what I mean? Like, if I just didn't tell you that occasionally, like,
You're just a really
I know
nice
that
guy.
I'm just a really nice guy, but I ultimately, I would feel a little weird if I never told people that because I've been giving a lot away and I've been trying to do my absolute best to be ethical, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like, I don't know. I've gotten over it for some reason. I think you should too. I think I want you to make more money. I want you to sell more shit.
Yeah.
I think that in addition to that, you should be posting at least 5. Here's, people do swing the other way. There's people that are out here only posting call to actions.
Right.
And that's all they do on their social media all the time. Like, you gotta have the other 5 posts. You know what I mean? You have to be thinking about that ideal customer and saying what else would be good for them. And you know what I've found lately is like sharing other products. Like, you're a connector. You love helping contractors find like cool services and whatever. So
Absolutely.
like being the guy to introduce them to them is really cool. Or tools. Like, I love Pulse M. Like, I love that service. It's like it texts the homeowner with a picture and like who's showing up before they come, and then it texts them after the initial inspection and says, "How was that inspection? Would you give us a Google review?" It's
Nice.
fucking awesome. But I have never promoted that on my Facebook. I've never told people about that. So for me, it might be sharing that service, like, and then I'm the guy that shows them cool tools, you know? So I think like that's another easy way. That's not, it feels like it's another call to action for somebody else's product, but if you really believe in it, it's not a call. It doesn't count as a call to action. It doesn't waste people's like calories towards you. It's just like, especially if you're like, I'm not like selling this. I just like think it's cool.
Yeah. I love my iPhone. You should get an iPhone.
Yeah, exactly. And then they remember the guy that told them about the iPhone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think is a great piece of content if you're going after contractors.
Okay, cool.
Other types of content, I'd say recently, one of my favorite things has been answering. Like, I've been writing down why people, this is They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan.
Okay.
Right. I created a Google sheet in my drive that's reasons people didn't purchase. And I have like, so I do one line for the reasons they didn't purchase. And then I come up with like, the next column is like, should I write it or should I make it, like the video? And then if it's yes, then I go and then I make a title. Then the next line over is title. And then I have a checkbox whether I made it or not. I have like 3 left and there was like 15 at the beginning. And it's basically like, it's fun when somebody doesn't move forward with you because it's a piece of content now. So if it's like, for me, it might be, and for you, I guess, let's do like, what's a recent reason that somebody didn't move forward with Euroshield that you thought should?
So I had one that it was in Orlando, and they were looking at going with one of our competitors that's a little bit more expensive than us. And then they decided they were going to go with our product. And the roofer that they were talking to, that they ended up talking to, was also thinking about promoting us. They ran into each other. Guy was all in, and then in the end, he was like, "Yeah, I'll just go with asphalt shingles. It's cheaper."
Yeah.
And the guy was totally ready to buy, and I'm just like, "What happened, man?" And I think had I supported him more and been more involved in that, it might have helped answer any questions that the guy had that he wasn't asking the roofer, or the roofer didn't know how to answer, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so I think like that objection, that reason for not purchasing usually kind of just gets thrown away. You know what I mean? Unless
Right.
you had like an office where you're sitting around with other salespeople and you're like, let's talk about the reason that that person didn't buy. And then
Right.
let's see if that we can support that person better next time, because the same people come around us all the time. It's a new person, but it's the same idea. So like,
Makes
what,
sense. This is going to come up again.
yeah, what piece of content, like from their point of view, like if they had a reason why they didn't purchase, what would you call that? Kind of like, what would the sentence be? I don't want to use synthetic shingles because, what would be the sentence
Well,
there?
one of the ones I ran into recently, other than the one I mentioned, was just somebody that basically said, "Look, I believe in you. I believe in the product that you're promoting. I know that it would help my homeowner. I just didn't know how to ask them for more money because they have a claim. It pays for asphalt. I have asphalt available. I didn't know how to ask them for more money. So
How to help your homeowner ask for upgrades.
I like that.
That's a good piece of content. And then it's like, you sit there, you outline it for a little bit. What I'd say is, so that would be like in the third column or over, if you'd said, yes, this is a worthwhile objection to make a piece of content for, how to ask your homeowner to, and then you've got this, you can create a video for it. But I also think this list is just more broadly valuable over time, because part of me wants to, in a year from now, go back, update the list, and then make everything over again. Because this is like, from my point of view, these videos, first of all, I'm making them on TikTok, and then I'm also putting them on YouTube or Facebook or both. And it's more live. You know what I mean? It's more like, I just do these on a walk every day. I literally go for a walk. You know, I got to get out. I got get my heart thumping a little bit. I go for a walk, and what's that?
I said, go ahead, Phil Sanoff, getting that walk in.
Exactly. And then I slow down on the walk, and I do this video for a little bit, and I just say, hey, you know how it's very difficult to ask sometimes homeowner for upgrade? Let me tell you what, I understand. I get it. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes you don't know how to help them. I'm going to give you 3 ways to do it, and when to know when you should and when you shouldn't. And you try to take it from their point of view, like only if, like, you have to kind of keep the if you shouldn't available, because you don't want them to feel like you're only just trying to sell your shit. So you have to give them like, sometimes you shouldn't, because if they're not sure if they're going to go with you, potentially this could throw them off. But if you know for sure that they're going to go with you and they trust you, are you sure they wouldn't like a stronger, longer lasting roof? Just give it as an offer. Like your first couple times, you might just give it. I don't know exactly how to say this, but I'm saying like, give it as an offer. And like on the side, say, yes, you could go with asphalt shingles, and just offer it, you know, and maybe at that point you're like, and I'll give you a 1-sheeter, you know, like at the same time you say, by the way, in the links below or in the comments, I put a link to our 1-sheeter that you can just throw in. And potentially increase your average sale by 30% or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah,
basically that idea of like, yeah, kind of hitting those objections.
the guy with Boral Steel found, they did an experiment and they found that if they had sales reps simply take the Boral Steel flyer and leave it on the table before they left the home, even if they never talked about it, sales went up 13% for Boral Steel.
Mhm.
People upgraded themselves to the Boral Steel by simply leaving that piece of content sitting on the table.
Yep. And I think you could obviously hit it so many ways. Like, don't make that decision for your homeowner. Don't assume that they, you know, you're kind of being an asshole when you assume that the customer doesn't want something more expensive. Like, some people do. You don't know their situation.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, basically this objection list becomes kind of fun in my experience because it's such a great, and I think like I was very addicted to doing how-to content, like basically DIY, but I know that for contractors, a lot of their best, because people argue with me about this, but I don't think DIY customer is your ideal customer. That's my opinion. I think I want to pay for quality customer is your ideal customer. And a lot of times they actually don't care or think about this stuff ever.
Right.
So,
I mean, the typical homeowner for Euroshield is either going to be, I want to save the environment, I want higher quality, I want it to last forever,
yeah,
or I want it to be hailproof. We have the only hailproof shingle I'm aware of in the world.
that's very interesting. We did a study for a contractor a number of years ago. Very deep guide on like, what will people pay for green and sustainable? And they won't pay a lot. They all want it. It's like 68% of people want to be more sustainable, but like,
Are they willing to pay for it?
Yeah, they're often not. So, yeah, but that, I mean, hey, that's a number of years ago. And now that, you know, time will progress and it'll get more and more.
So do you think the recycled and recyclable part of it is more of a reinforcement or support about the decision instead of the decision itself? And
yes,
that it should be the fact that we have the only hailproof shingle in the world, that should be the biggest drive that I go with and pointing out. Because not every market is going to be hail either, you know?
My take is that, well, I would make a decision based on looks.
Okay. It's a beautiful
Personally,
product.
this is me, like homeowner, looks. That's literally almost looks, and then I don't have to replace it in like the next 10 years, please. Like, because I'm only going to be in this house for 10 years. Make sure it looks good and make sure like I'm not gonna, I mean, price starts to come in pretty quick. You know what I mean? But looks, I think
got a
like,
lifetime warranty, but it's basically designed to last at least 50 years.
yeah. I feel like basically I agree. It should be support. I think looks and then like strength. But here's the deal is I just think the average homeowner just doesn't think about hail ever. Like I don't think that homeowners are thinking about that often. I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking about the way my house looks. That's my
So maybe
take.
only for targeted ads for hail areas after they get hail, but otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, in that moment, if they're for sure getting it replaced, I guess you're right. Like if it's in a replacement situation, then yeah. If it's like after a hailstorm, so I can see that happening. Sorry, I'm literally like, I'm slowly losing my touch with like just being an average consumer. And now I'm accidentally like full in on roofing. Like I'm not going to be able to, I'm like, bye. Like I can't ever be impartial again, probably.
No.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think go all in on two things, get really into the ask you answer. I think that book is a great idea for you personally. I think you would enjoy that book.
Which one is it?
They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. It's so good for sales. It's so good for the way it basically like blends marketing and sales a lot.
Okay. I noticed Dimitri
like,
mentioned him recently as well.
Yeah. And then, Yeah, I mean, like if you're doing TikTok, I'm trying to learn the TikTok algorithm right now. And I think like it's basically like from what I heard, you know, the person that had it mastered is like for every 100 views, you need 10 likes and you need 2 comments. So like kind of focus on that ratio and then know, first of all, like you got to hit those 50, 100 and 150 videos mark. So it's a discipline and it's quantity. And it's kind of lowering the bar for what you consider a TikTok, you know, like, and then I think you should also upload those on Reels on Instagram and Facebook too. Ideal scenario.
Okay.
Like if you're going to do it anyways, like on
I heard
average,
videos
like,
on LinkedIn right now as well.
yeah, I'll be real. I was really into video on LinkedIn and I have stopped caring as much personally.
Got it.
So
I really like Facebook and TikTok, so that's probably the where to go.
And roofers just aren't
been really good for me.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Roofers just aren't very on LinkedIn on average.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah. The roofers are on Facebook. They've been on Facebook. Right now, TikTok is hitting. A lot of people in the roofing community are starting to go over to TikTok. So it's a great time for that, to be the one that they fall onto. And then on top of that, you've got the potential of things really going viral. I need to be, I know, more consistent with putting out the content and not overthinking it, and just putting some value more often.
I will say, I think you have an opportunity with demonstration. So I think having a good amount of the product available and using it in a lot of the things that you're doing, like I thought for like F-Wave, they had the heat, you know, like the heat gun to like, so anything that you can do that's like a stunt, and I don't know what that could be for you, but anything that's stunt would work, would help a lot on TikTok and those like, and then also the other thing that seems to help is like, you're doing it wrong or don't do this, you know, like anything like that, anything that hits them with right away, avoid pain by, you know, like that, those end up being very good. I hate myself as a marketer that I know this stuff, but yeah, it's true.
Have my girlfriend take a mallet and beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Anything demonstration, anything adventure. So like I think, and anything with a different background, you know, outside on a, you know, I think that's why roofers do pretty good on there, is because they're on roofs a lot and it's kind of interesting, you know.
Pretty cool too. I've got some awesome pictures that have been on roofs with mountains in the back or a big old golf back, things like that.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that.
So anyways, those are my tips on the manufacturer and marketing side. I'm just rounding out this video. We'll stop it and chat a bit, but I hope that's useful. And yeah, thanks for hanging.
I love it. Thank you, sir. Good talking to you as always.